something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Salutations, New Haven. Salutations, Connecticut. Salutations, America and the world. This is Dr. Jesse Turner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM Community Radio without commercials, where you hear the whole story. We're not selling you anything. We're just bringing you the truth over there. And today I got a great show and a timely show, a powerful show, at a time when all across this nation, we are cutting programs that lift people up for some reason. I'm not certain, but we're cutting things, and we haven't cut this program yet, but this is a program. The TRIO program is a program that 51 years ago, the kid from Jersey City, New Jersey, the little stupid football player who didn't have a chance at going to college, no money, nobody in my family who ever went to college over there. And my coach said, hey, there's this program called the Equal Opportunity Program. And before I knew it, I had a chance. And I remember my coach saying, they can open the door, but you have to carry the weight. So today we're going to talk TRIO, and we're going to try to help the world understand. And Julio Munez told us, Dr. Turner, this is about moving for a transformative journey of moving from at risk to resilience. And I thought, yeah, that's the promise. That's the TRIO promise. So I'm gonna say, Erica and Angel and everybody, unmute yourselves. We can also talk to each other. So Erica, if you see something that Angel says that you want to respond to, you can. It should be like a coffee conversation. Mi casa, su casa. It's time to have some cafe con leche. All right, so we're going to start with Erica. Erica, all right, cool. And
I'm ready.
Community engagement cup over here. So Erica, we're going to start with you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe your passions.
Oh, hello. My name is Erica Alfred. I'm a graduating senior here at CCSU. I'm a political science major and a Spanish minor. My passions lie. I love music. I love history. I just love to be outside and communicate with people, be around my community. And yeah, I love TRIO. This has been my life for the past 3 years, and here I am. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, let's go to Angel now.
Hello, my name is Angel Diaz Delgado. I am a senior standing student at CCSU. I'm a computer engineering major. And I originally started astrobotics, definitely switched after. I've been with TRIO for around 2 years, since December 2022. I met Julio there, and some of my passions are film. I love film. I love hip hop. I love coffee. I love food. I love cooking. So that's what I love. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be here talking to you guys.
And we're going to have a hip hop conversation one day.
I love that.
Cherry Hill Gang. Or, you're going to be singing Don't Push Me to the Edge, Casualties of War, Fight the Power. We're going to have to see all of that stuff over there.
We love that.
Yeah, we love it all. Let's Julio, yes, I want you to introduce yourself and your passion, but could you tell us a little bit about, because I don't think the public understands that TRIO programs help lift people from middle school all the way to these beautiful seniors here today.
So first and foremost, thank you for having us on the air, Dr. Turner. My name is Julio Enrique Muñiz III. I come from Meriden, Connecticut. I am a proud product of Wesleyan University Upper Bound, so I have been in the TRIO game for roughly 22, 23 years now, and it's been one heck of a journey. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of trio and whatnot, just something about myself. First and foremost, let's go Knicks, big Knicks and basketball fan. As Angel mentioned, hip hop. I really feel like I am hip hop, just the way I grew up and everything. Just really love, big shout out to Nas real quick. But then some of my other passions professionally, I'm kind of a corny guy, and I say that I'm kind of the middleman between my students and their dreams, right? So whatever that can kind of mean to whoever, I think we take a great holistic approach in meeting students where they're at. All over, as you said, from middle school. I've worked with middle school, high school, college populations, and then I even know individuals that work with the McNair program, so even post-bac students. So there's adult learners. I think Trio helps over 880,000 people across the nation, from ages 9 to 10 up until adult learners that could be in their 60s and 70s. So my Trio program, one thing we used to say is respect for self, respect for others, and dedication to lifelong learning. And I really think that Trio kind of upholds that mantra, that motto, and we really have the opportunity to change lives, mold lives, but do this together. It definitely takes a village. So, shout out to some of my mentors from my Wesleyan University Upper Bound program, Donna Thompson, Jen Buckley, Ronnie Hendricks, David Jackson. Really appreciate and love you all. And I'm just glad that we have two very strong, powerful voices from our trio community here at Central willing to kind of share their story and kind of talk about the journey and everything it takes to kind of shape the world.
And they're not just representing Central. They're representing trio programs all across this country. That's that. Just in case people didn't know in the audience, if you can see us, because on the radio they can't see, but I'm wearing my bow tie. I'm wearing my bow tie today because when I was an EOP student and we were introduced to the program, Reverend Allen was the director of the program, and he always wore his bow ties, and so I said, well, this one's for Reverend Allen. I'm wearing my bow tie, cause. So let's come back to this piece over here. And I wanted to think about, and anyone could take this question, but how has Trio allowed you to change the future for yourself, family, and others? The floor is open, people.
So, if you don't mind, I'll kind of kick it off. So for me, my dad was actually accepted into an Upper Bound program, but his Upper Bound program, he had to do some wilderness school stuff. He had just moved to Connecticut from Brooklyn, so the wilderness was not for him. So he actually quit the program. Later on in life, we'll say about 25 years down the road, my brother had joined the program, and my brother became the first in our family to graduate and earn a 4-year degree. He was accepted to Yale University. We couldn't afford to go or to send him, so he ended up going to UConn on a full scholarship, and he was kind of the pioneer of higher education in my family. So myself and my sister were also a part of these programs, and my sister's a nurse. I've achieved a master's degree. I'm a part-time faculty member here. I work for Trio. So Trio didn't only help me get to college, helped me graduate college, and now it's my career. So it's helped transform my family in so many different ways. And one of the cool things is my sister was in the program when I was working there. So I became like an older brother to, a lot of her friends, and I've been able to kind of really make a mark in the Meriden community, which I think is just beautiful. So for me, I think it's helped, my family transcend some expectations, but then also really helped us learn the value of education, the doors that it can open. And then the big thing about Trio, in my opinion, is really helping others, right? So if you look down and you see somebody trying to climb, lend a helping hand and help them climb, because it gets to a point where sometimes they're going to push you up, you're going to pull them up, and it's a beautiful working relationship. So I think it's helped just transform the idea of what some Latinos in America can achieve, and then hopefully when I have some children, they're already starting a little bit ahead of where I started. So it should be an awesome journey, and I'm just glad I've been able to share it with so many.
Love it. We love it. It's that part of Trio is also that concept. It's not only in getting you to graduation day. It's about the greater good. It's about giving back. That's why we're on this show. When Carmen Valoria, we did a show with her in February, And she said, "You need to meet our trio students, Jesse, because you and I were trio students." So she said, "You got to meet them." But we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna give this question to Erica, and because it's that greater good, and it's that idea. What are some of the benefits of having trio, and and not only at the college campus, but how does it help middle schoolers and high schoolers?
Well, I myself have not been at the middle school nor high school level, but being a mentor to students, 3 rounds of it now, and seeing them grow up in this program, it's given them that head start to what college life would look like, how financially literate they can be, how they can navigate through school while still, learning about life. And it it's an inspiring thing to watch them grow, and it's inspiring to me as a college trio student how how it just makes me grow in more ways than one. It takes on that leadership role, how to be a better student, be more cognizant of my assignments, and how to navigate conversations with professors, how to navigate job interviews. That we have a closet with clothes and how to present yourself in job interviews, and how to present yourself to grad programs and stuff like that. So for the kids just growing up, it gives them that step by step process of growing up, and wanting to be that successful person that they want to be.
That's perfect, and to help people understand that how essential this is. Trio takes students, so I could look at my own experience. So I'm a former homeless kid who becomes a PhD. How does that happen? Nobody in the family had ever been to a college, not even walking on the campus. My mother used to be afraid there was a campus near us, Stevens Institute of Technology. She said, "We can't walk over there. We used to have to cross the street over there." She didn't know I used to play over there, play football with my friends, go steal, drink of cold water because I had a fountain. But this kind of this piece that we're talking about, this sense of hope that it does when you don't have anybody. So my mother would tell me, "Look, I can give you a bus fare to get there. I can give you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, when you're going to campus, and I can help you out like that, but I'm not going to be able to help you with your philosophy, your math." Just not to say she wasn't a very smart woman. She was. I say she was smarter than me and wiser, but I'm just saying this kind of concept. So I'm going to go to Angel, right? Because Angel, I want to get at there's something that Trio does that I think only those of us who have been there understand. So I'm going to say, how does Trio help you build a sense of belonging on campus, regardless of your background, whether you're Latin, Black, white, Muslim, Christian? Somehow it gives you this kind of personal situation, whether you're somebody who is struggling with housing, food, anything. How does it do this? So
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so perfect timing. So it's great because I came to Connecticut thanks to Hurricane Maria down in Puerto Rico, which was disastrous for the island. My family lost everything, and we were living at my grandmother's house. We were there for 6 months in Jayuya, Puerto Rico, which I have the little flag right here, representing my hometown. Always. And I'm a country person, like in the middle of the island, en la montaña. And I really had, like, when I was in high school, I really had my plan to go to University of Puerto Rico, go to this program, and my future was from one day to another just completely switched around. And we were like, the only way we can do this is moving elsewhere. We had some family over here that helped us out for a couple months, but this was all new to me and my family. I already had my childhood friends, I already had my home, and to switch that around was a complete change for me. When I started at CCSU, it was COVID time, so I never got a chance to even like visit campus on my first year. I never got that first year experience that like most kids have now. So when I finally got to campus, I was just like, oh my God, this is completely new. Like, I don't know how to do this. And funnily enough, through my brother, who also goes to CCSU, he connected me with Julio. And it was just a simple conversation, just meeting him. And we ended up talking about hip hop and a bunch of other stuff for like an hour. And right there and there, he told me, do you want to work for us? And I was like, yeah, sure. And from there on, I just saw firsthand how many students come in every single day that felt the same way as I did when I was first going to CCSU and getting the help they needed. And it became a passion of mine of having or helping these students to not feel the way I did when I came to Connecticut or when I came to CCSU completely lost. So yeah, I think that's the most important part, right? Of that belonging, because I've met so many different cultures and I learned so much from other students that I tutor or that I meet on a daily basis, that I don't think that can be replicated anywhere else on campus.
And what's interesting, if we look at our guest and myself, right, we have a president in Washington who is considering getting rid of TRIO programs because he says they don't graduate. Look
Mhm.
at, I mean, we're I've got a PhD. We've got master's degrees. You're going to get you're graduating this year, people. You know, you're going to walk across that stage. You're going to continue your education, all that stuff. So, you know, it's we're telling an important narrative, a narrative of, and now let me get a little poetic over here, because when Joe Biden was elected president, this beautiful young lady in the most beautiful yellow outfit and dress and perfect hat, Amanda Gorman, just stepped up to the stage. She was our inaugural poets are usually in their 60s, their 70s, and I think Robert Frost might have been near 80. But this young girl and her little poem, The Hills We Climb, The Hill We Climb, and just a little over there, because how can you really touch the base of what TRIO is without a little literature, without it's almost like the gospel, we have to say. So I'm just looking at it, and she opened up with these words, and I remember watching her and saying, not only was she beautiful, but as soon as she started talking, I could sense that she knew who I was and where I had come from. When the day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We brave the belly of the beast. We've learned the quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet, the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply is unfinished. And I would argue that we are the unfinished business being finished. And that's what TRIO does. So I want to go to you, Julio, because I want, you got to tell me, are there a lot of programs on our college campuses? But what's the difference between a TRIO program and the others?
So this year, it looks like TRIO is celebrating its 60th year, right? So due to the Higher Education Act of 1965, 3 federal programs were able to expand and get this federal funding. And it's not only like it's here in Connecticut, it's all over the nation, right? So I think TRIO programs help, the national problem of education and understanding how low-income families, in particular first-generation families, really need these types of programs just to promote awareness. The middle school and high school programs don't only just tell you go to college, they give you the skills to do well, become eligible to go to college, and then even beyond that, they help you find college that's the best fit for you. Like I got accepted to UConn. I could have gone to UConn. It would have cost me a lot more money, and that probably wouldn't have been the best fit for me. So my TRIO program kind of helped me really understand the opportunities that exist, but then Julio, you got to find the school that's the best fit for you economically, personally, finding a community that's for you. So on the grand scale of things, these programs really help at a macro level kind of attack some of the social problems that exist. But every program is slightly different and kind of is able to kind of attribute to the social problems at a regional level, right? So I think the fact that we help over 880,000 students nationwide really speaks volumes, because there's programs that definitely make a mark in some bigger cities, but those programs are kind of really just a lot more focused on not only education, but the social problems that exist in that area in particular, rather than understanding also the grand scheme of things at the macro level. So I think our TRIO programs are really able to kind of balance the two. We're able to go to events like policy seminar. We're able to kind of come together at the state, regional, and then national level. So we have COE, the Council of Education, and it really is a network of all 50 states. And then even on the island of Puerto Rico, there's some TRIO programs there as well. So we are really understanding, in my opinion, just everything that takes place, again, at a national level, and then even smaller, what's going on in our communities. And balancing the two together, I think, really helps us form an opportunity to help in every single way to a certain degree. So when I was a student, we really didn't talk about mental health. Now here, 25 years later, we talk about the importance of mental health. And when I was a student, 25 years ago, didn't have programs specific towards STEM. Now Upper Bound has Upper Bound Math Science. SSS has a STEAM program, and STEM helps produce just solutions to a lot of different problems. But then even at the economic level, you're more than likely to make twice as much or even more working in a STEM field. So I think we've been able to broaden the horizons of career paths, create solutions. We've had TRIO people become part of NASA and go to space. So I think it's just been an incredible journey for everybody that stepped foot, in a TRIO classroom and has hopefully gone on to graduate, go onto a college campus, and maybe even be the first in their family to cross that stage.
Love it. We love that component. And I would remind us that our graduates, they're ambassadors for TRIO. They're ambassadors for a greater good. They're ambassadors. So that's why the bow tie's on today. Reverend Allen said, you don't only represent yourself, you don't only represent your family, you represent all of us who needed a little helping hand. So I'm gonna go to Erica, and people, you could comment off each other. You don't have to wait for me to ask you a question. But Erica, what would you say to somebody that was, like, I don't know, a new TRIO student, or what do you tell them about this program?
Well, I would tell them that this is a program that will help you succeed. No matter what your circumstances are, they will absolutely do their absolute best to help you succeed. Whether it's financially, whether it's academically, whether it's with mental health, whether it's just simply finding friends. It helps you in all aspects of your life growing up in college. And for me personally, I was introduced by Trio by a friend, and I didn't know anything about it. So I went with this friend. I came here. I met Julio. He was like, "You need a job?" I was like, "Sure." And it opened me up to so many opportunities, so many new friends, so many new cultures. And I said in our own podcast that Trio is a melting pot, just like how America is a melting pot. I've met so many people of diverse backgrounds, so many people of diverse cultures. It was a beautiful thing to see, and I love helping out people, and it opened me up to a new horizon. Like how Angel has said, he's grown up in the background of educators. So have I. My mother is a special ed educator. My aunts are teachers, and I tried for the longest time to like not be able to teach, no teaching, no teaching, no teaching. And here I am tutoring for 3 years. And I actually have a side quest, a side job of being a substitute teacher in the North Public Schools era. So I'm grateful to Trio that it's opened me up to new people, new experiences, financial literacy, educational literacy, getting me to grad school. It's such a wonderful opportunity for new students of any background to join.
And I also want to add another thing. I also work a little bit with like the social media aspect, and we were like up to the lead up of everything, we were doing some videos, just showing like student testimonials and stuff. And the word we heard the most of trio students like describing the program was family, and that it was really impactful for me. And I feel the same way too. The people that I see every single day, I get happy for them as they are my family. I get emotional for them as they are my family. One of our other assistant directors, Katarina, I call her my work mom because she literally is like my mom at work. And I just love, I mean, our Maritza too, we call her abuela. So
Abuela,
it's
yeah.
all, it really is a family aspect. It's not only, people, yeah, it's an organization, but it's also that familiar feel. So yeah, that's all I want to add.
So we've got family, we got that, but I'm gonna add, there's a social side of trio that I don't. I'm gonna just go back to me. So when I was that young little high school graduate, and after me and my little fellow basketball players, football players, track people, and all that were filling up our application at our abuela Isabel's house, wondering how do we do our income? What do we do? We're just working on an application that should have been simple to anybody else, but we worked on it. But when we arrived, and this is what I know, Trio does something else. So I'm going to give you an example. So I told you about Reverend Allen. So Reverend Allen got a bunch of us at lunch one day, and he said, listen, you want to go see Gladys Knight and the Pips? That was when Midnight Train to Georgia was a big hit. You know, and we were like, oh, yeah. And he said, yeah, we'll just come on the bus, you know. And so we all ran. We just went on the bus. We were going to the Garden State Arts Center, and I remember this thing. And you know, we went there, and so what I'm saying is, music was a part of it, but it also was opening. So I was unaware of the blues really at that time. And the opening act was B.B. King, and B.B. King is legendary. Now I did not know who B.B. King was, and my friend Jose said, "That's the ugliest man I've ever saw." You know, and as soon as he started playing, we also were like strange, because in the audience there was not only like young people like us, because the Gladys Knight and the Pips would be like, you know, like a young group at that time, and so we were like, yeah, this is great. We know all this, but we looked around us, and there were all these elder black ladies dressed like they were going to church, just like my mother would go to church, you know. And we're like, well, it's kind of weird to hear Gladys Knight and the Pit. And all of a sudden, when B.B. King started singing, he started singing blues, you know, I gave you Sam children, and now you want to give them back. And they started screaming like it was a Beatles concert, saying, we would not do that. No, we're not leaving you, B.B. And I remember that. But I remember music was a big part of us. And in those days, 51 years ago, you know, it wasn't hip hop really, but it was Motown, and we were singing and we were dancing. We might be the biggest dancers and music people at the college. I was at St. Peter's College, pretty straight, Jesuit kind of institution. But tell us about the social side of it. Anyone could grab this one. There's got to be. So I want to know, you know, I think, Angel, everybody has said something about hip hop, but what's the music stuff? Tell me about the social stuff in there.
Yes, I remember a day specifically where like I was waiting for tutors and stuff like that, and me and a friend of ours, we were just writing like songs we knew from the 2010s, because that's the music that we grew up in. And then everybody started coming in and writing on the board with songs.
That's a great
Do you
day.
remember that, Angel? Yes,
I
that
was
was a
there. Yeah, I
good
love
day.
that day. That's a core
Yes.
memory for me.
Yes, I think I have pictures of that. Like we were like writing all these artists down from the 2010s and the 2000s, stuff that we grew up, our older siblings had grown up, or for our mothers and fathers growing up. It was an amazing time. So music has been a core memory for me, for Angel, and for everybody in Trio, really, because that's what brings us together. It's a language that everybody understands, you know? So like a song could come on and everybody could absolutely go crazy. I love it. Yeah.
Another thing. Oh, go
Okay,
ahead. Go ahead.
everybody's got this one, so we'll go. You know, Julio's face is on the screen, so we'll let him. Don't worry, Angel. We got to give, you know, it's age before beauty. You understand that, son?
So I need to brag about these two individuals real quick, and their music and how they've, you know, kind of contributed to our programs. Since we all love music so much, Angel and I kind of really hit it off on the sense of hip hop. I actually had him create a Trio Jams playlist where students were able
I want it.
So we had students come in, and it was a survey theme, and they just got to kind of announce what songs they wanted to have on this playlist. And we had a whole bunch of different like printing paper that came out almost like Polaroids, and we were able to create this beautiful background. And Angel was kind of really behind it. And then when we were celebrating the 50 years of hip hop, Angel also created that little imagery as well. And then we also do a talent show every summer. And Erica comes on and she starts singing the Alicia Keys and the piano. And it's just like these two people with such.
I wasn't invited.
Oh,
¿Qué pasa?
we got your invitation for this summer. Don't you worry, Dr. Turner.
This can't be going on anymore.
And these wonderful individuals with these talents, Angel definitely, I don't want to limit him to just this, but his ability to kind of just pick up sound and create, and then he's so good with technology and able to kind of really make things visual, and we have these visual boards, and then Erica being able to play on the piano and sing at the same time, and she's actually gotten to perform at Carnegie Hall. So like it's just these incredible individuals that represent not only our programs but themselves, their families, and just this national thing that we call trio at just the highest level. It's just a beautiful thing that we get to connect on music, and we get to connect on the beauty that it brings us.
God, Angel, we're not letting you off the hook. He's stealing the show over there. That's what dumb people can do.
So funnily enough, I was about to talk about the hip hop wall, because that to me was one of my favorite projects I ever worked on in Trio. Because we created a section, basically we sectioned the wall between eras of hip hop. We started with the start, we did the 90s, and then we did like 70s to 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then 2010s. And we were able to do like quizzes, so students could scan a QR code with their phones and take a quiz on hip hop of that era and compare results. So, and that to me was heartwarming, just because I would see students scanning and learning about hip hop, not only like seeing their favorite album on the wall, but learning about different eras. That's something I'm very passionate about. Another thing is a lot of our conversations, especially for Spanish music, Bad Bunny, for example. I'm a huge fan of Bad Bunny. And I remember when the newest album came out, which is a lot about Puerto Rico and about its struggles, about everything that's been happening there, either politically or the feeling of being in Puerto Rico. Just sitting and talking to everybody that was Puerto Rican, or just listen to Bad Bunny, and some people that even didn't understand the culture just asking me like, oh, what's this about, what's this in reference to? Like, that dialogue is so important for music. And also for another thing, I love like hearing you talk about the blues. I just saw the movie Sinners, which talk about the blues and all that stuff, and just having that dialogue, I myself learned about blues music through the movie, and talking to other people from Trio that knew more about blues than I did. And I think that's what's important, right? Not only the connection to music, but that connection between people to learn from each other, from their knowledge, just share that and have that connection where you can run up to them and on campus, you run into them and you can just have that conversation. Oh my God, did you listen to this, and that? That's super special to me.
So give us a little idea about how the blues plays on. So and music in general, why we tend to like music, and particularly first generation college students, because that's what we're really talking about with Trio in many ways. And music informs us, warns us. So I want to, the idea of woke, I want to come back to this because there's a blues story with woke. So woke isn't, I don't know what the president or what people are talking about now, but woke is a early song by Lead Belly, one of the great blues steel guitarists. And he's in Alabama when the Scottsboro boys were arrested and beaten for doing nothing at all. And so he sings in the song, the term woke, this is the first time it pops up, is about, he's warning other young black people in Alabama, in his shows, as he's doing his shows, and he's telling them, be woke, beware. In Alabama, it's a warning. And he uses the term woke there. That's what it's called. I just had to bring that in there because to remind us why we love music, isn't because just because Dr. Turner likes cumbia, because I can do salsa, that I know Buena Vista Social Club. I'm going to see the play this weekend in New York. But anyway, it isn't that. And it isn't that I don't love Alicia Keys, but I do. But I like Leela James singing "A Change Is Gonna Come," that old Sam Cooke
Mhm.
song. And but this music, this sense of family, because doesn't music hold family together? Doesn't it do that? Not only that, I'm an old little church kid. I would sing gospel songs too in the house. That's all my mother ever played, and things like that. But then, but this piece. So I want to come back to not so much trio, but each of you to now to just touch upon how music has inspired you. Because trio, we are like everyone else. And I don't know, if music doesn't inspire you, then you're not living. If music doesn't make you cry, then you're not living. If music doesn't make you smile and laugh and question, I don't know what is. But we're gonna go with ladies first. Erica, we're putting you on the spot because when I heard you could play the piano and you like playing Alicia Keys tunes, you
Yeah.
must be able to sing, young lady, because you can
Yes.
step on Alicia Keys if you have a voice without a voice. So go
Yes.
ahead, you can begin us.
Yes, Dr. Turner. Like you, I grew up in church. I still am in church. I've been listening to, Shirley Caesar, the Wyans family, all of them, Donnie McClurkin. I grew up with mass choirs growing up, so that was my bread and butter. And then my folks are from Trinidad and Tobago and Cuba. So then you have soca, calypso, and merengue. So you have all that sort of like mixed in, and then my mom grew up in New York in the 70s and 80s, so you got Motown and all that New York hip hop and stuff like that. So I got all that mixed in. And when I was growing up, you listen to the radio, you got all those 2010s hip hop and pop and rock and all that sort of thing. So I got everything mixed in. And growing up in church and growing up with all this music, I learned how to play the piano by ear. So I've been playing the piano maybe for maybe 22. So maybe it's been over. It's well over 10 years now. Well over 10 years now. I've been picking up the bass. That's my new exploration for the summer. I've been singing for as long as I can remember, and like Julio had mentioned, I've performed at Carnegie. This will be my third time this past March. So
But wait a minute, you said Carnegie? You mean Carnegie Hall? You
the
mean he's
Carnegie
over
Hall.
there in the Carnegie Hall? Oh,
Yes.
sister, you have arrived. We're talking royalty over here.
Yes. Oh, it was such like a goosebump moment to like be backstage and seeing all those different signed photos of people who have performed there. It was insane. But the feeling that music gives you, it rocks you to the core. There's always a message behind every song. And it's just more than a beat. It's songwriting, it's storytelling, it's letting people know your journey and being relatable to the general public, and not everything has to be about what today's music might be like money and drugs and all that sort of thing. It's where you came from and how and where you're going, and I love everything about music. And if I was to live another life, I would have been a music major. I would have learned how to produce music, be an engineer in music. That would have been my passion. That's
And
my.
Angel probably is doing some of that engineering, playing around with all. But Angel, we're going again. We're going with the youth first. We're leaving the old people to last. Yeah, Julio, and she's talking about Carnegie Hall, and I want to see Buena Vista Social Club in Carnegie Hall. The real deal. So, but anyway, go ahead, Angel.
So my love for music started because my dad is a DJ. Ever since I was born, he's been a DJ. And my first like experience with music was when he gave me his old iPod with all his old like songs, and he just told me explore. And that to me was something that formed me as a person because I could explore freely all this type of music. I started listening to Biggie. I started listening to Gorillaz. I started listening to a lot of 80s music, Journey, Queen, a lot that he was a huge 80s guy. So a lot of the rock bands from the 80s, Guns N' Roses, all that stuff. Then I was my generation was in the middle of like before the internet and then after the internet. So I had that experience, but then also when I got a little bit older, when I was in middle school and high school, I was exploring a lot in the internet. Like I found Kendrick Lamar, which is one of my favorite artists of all time. Like he taught me like how to how you can say something so poetically and so rhythmically and be under over a beat and it's still being so impactful in how to use your voice for the greater good. And um also Puerto Rican music. I've recently been like exploring the reggaeton genre, salsa, merengue, plena, bomba, all that stuff. Like I remember from like the school dances, but now I've been like re-listening and connecting myself with that culture again. In part thanks to Bad Bunny with all those elements that he's implemented in his music. But to me, it's always been a passion. Like ever since I was little, I remember my mom telling me that she would play music for me when I was in her when I was in yeah in her belly. Like I was before I was even born, she would put headphones on her stomach, and so I could listen to music. And I think that low key is the reason why I am always with headphones on. I'm always listening to music. I'm always doing anything, and music is in the background. So it really is in my blood.
Now, Julio, it's up to you to save us elders and give a lowdown. You know, you're on.
So for me, I grew up around all different types of music. My uncles loved rock and roll. I grew up. I was born in '88, so when hip hop started becoming mainstream and everything in the '90s, which some people consider the golden age, but my family's Latino, so the first memories I have of music are Sunday cleaning. You know, I'm waking up because my mom has got Mark Anthony, Celia Cruz, Frankie Rui, and all these other individuals, and that's how I would wake up on Sundays. And it almost got to a point where I didn't love Latino music too much because you're taking away from my sleep, and now I know I got to clean all day. And, 25, 30 years later, it's something that I love listening to. I think Angel really referenced Bad Bunny. But my teen years and what I feel like I really grew up on, I had a few cousins that were older than me. I had a cousin that was a DJ Blend, Javi, shout out to you. But Carlos, Paulie, my brother Will, they used to talk to me about going and getting vinyls or going and shopping for CDs and telling me about like, oh, DMX dropped 2 albums this year. So for me, I just really loved hip hop. And it introduced me to poetry, and it made me understand the world in a more poetic fashion. And then when I was in high school, I was in Upper Bound. We had a summer of the arts. We had a summer that was themed every year. And the summer of the arts, I got to pick hip hop music, and I learned about Biggie. But then all of a sudden, I'm going back, and I'm like, wait, but this is jazz and this is funk. Oh wait, they're just recycling and taking back from rock and all these other things, and it just made me realize that music really unifies everybody. And there's so many different things from a Latino household that uses these instruments to other genres of music that are using the same instruments, and hip hop actually takes those and able to take a sample from here, a sample from there, and put together something so beautiful. And so that's why I love hip hop, because it is the melting pot of music to me. You're taking a little bit of everything and you're putting it out into the world. And then my family's from New York City, so the way they represent New York, especially in hip hop, is amazing to me. So music is everything, and just I really love my dad. I grew up where my dad used to give DJs music. I used to shop with him at the New Haven flea market, go to Hartford and everything. But
That's
all these
it.
all these things were just so amazing. So I just really like how music has been able to connect all of us.
Excellent. So I'm going to add and the reason I'm going off on the tangent on the music, I want the world to know that we're just like them. Where maybe we were students. I don't even like the term at risk. I like the term at promise. We were students at promise who with a little help, all that, but we're just normal people. We love music and stuff, but I want to play on a little bit of a word because I like and the word we mentioned melting pot. I'm gonna tell you what Reverend Allen told me. Reverend Allen read the poem by I'm trying to think Dunbar, who wrote the poem Melting Pot. And there's a lot of poems, Melting Pot. But so Dunbar is a Black Harlem Renaissance poet. And he writes that poem about, about the melting pot. He says Juan and Giuseppe and Ricardo and John, and they jump in and they all come out melted. But my black stain never comes out melted. So and so when we're looking at that, we're like understanding that. And then Reverend Allen said, here's what I want you to know. Nobody's melting here. We're going to transform it into a whole new thing, something better. He called it a symphony of American beauty, black and white and red and yellow, Muslim, Christian, Jew, this whole thing. And that's what they're afraid of. Because it's not, they would like the melting pot. We'd come in, some and come out. I don't know what we would come out as, but we keep our uniqueness. Sorry, that's just, the professor has to just throw in the little vocab lesson. I'm sorry. Let's think about, tell me your best sort of, your best advice to future students. Let's do that. And let's begin with Julio. So you must be in the midst of recruiting new students, and hopefully this White House doesn't cut this program, because we need our jobs and we need this trio is hope. So tell us, what would your advice to them?
So, as you mentioned, we are in the midst of recruiting for our upcoming summer program. Our university and our programs put on a 5-week summer bridge academy where we get at least 40 to 50 trio students to come on board. They're going to be taking college courses. They're living on campus. They're experiencing what it's like to be a college student. And during these interviews, it's usually like a conversation. We inform them, and at the end, we give them time for questions. And almost every student says, "What advice do you have for me?" And usually, the biggest thing is I tell people, "Hey, get comfortable with being uncomfortable and learn how to take risks." And I think that's the biggest thing. For myself, CCSU is a PWI, and it wasn't always the most comfortable place to be at times, and I didn't always feel like I was 100% accepted or like I even belonged, right? But taking the risk, showing up every day, things of that nature, just it allowed so many doors to open. And when it was time for me to graduate, the sociology department goes on a trip to along Route 66. And I was nervous because it's like, 3 weeks with college professors, they're not going to understand me. I'm not going to understand them. But hey, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I ended up moving. The road goes from Chicago, Illinois, Lake Michigan, all the way to Santa Monica, California. So going to Santa Monica, California, that's the first time that side of the Mississippi. That's the first time me traveling. That's the first time anyone that I know really has told me stories about being in California. We dream about it. We see Hollywood, all that good stuff. But I actually was there, and it motivated me to move to California, taking a huge risk, moving to San Diego. And I only came back because, I love my family so much that, it's so hard to be without them. I can't be 3,000 miles away. But that risk allowed me to learn so much about myself, to learn so much about the nation, and, just about just accepting challenges and overcoming these types of things. I think that's what I tell students all the time. Like, whatever you think your weakness is, turn it into a strength. And the only way you can do that is by taking some risks, trying something new. And, you're going to be here for 4 years at the very least, right? Let's make a journey out of it. Let's tell a story. And the only way you can do that is by trying something new, getting out of your comfort zone. And, sometimes it's the scariest point, and when you fear jumping the most, is exactly when you jump. And I think that we've had some amazing students that have told some beautiful stories, but those stories are really highlighted by their risk and overcoming those risks.
Excellent, excellent. Come on, Angel. What's your advice? You got the new students coming in. You got a little bit of academic too, and you can tell them about the music. That will get them all excited. But what would your advice be? Because I don't know about you, but I was a little afraid. I was worried. I had not been. When you're a poor kid, your family is everything. They're the only ones that seem to understand you, your friends and stuff. So I'm not going to say I was the bravest person stepping onto that college campus.
No, and for sure, I understand you, and I really connect with that story because I was the same way too. Like when I came here, I didn't know anybody on campus, and especially that first year that I was on campus, not even my brother was enrolled because he's 2 years younger than me. So an advice I always give students, like whenever we encounter them at trio or whenever wherever anyone asks me like, oh, what do I need for college? I always tell them this: there is no rock in the way that it's too big to step over or go around. There's no obstacle in the road too big for you. You just gotta look at it, study it, and then plan your way accordingly. Because nothing is impossible, especially with organizations like Trio. Especially a lot of it is, and a lot for me was mentally. I'm like, oh my God, I'm alone. I can't do this. I can't do this. But just taking a step back and just looking at the big picture and just seeing, okay, how am I going to do this? What is my approach to this obstacle? And that's what helped me succeed throughout my college career.
Excellent, excellent. Erica, young lady, you're up.
I Yes, I think the guys absolutely like said what was needed to be said. Because what I was thinking in my brain when you asked the question, I was like, always keep being curious and always ask questions, because there's not never a stupid question. It's never a stupid question, and it's never a bad thing to be curious. It's a big world. It's a big campus out here. Don't be afraid to step out and learn something new. And that's what Trio is. You're learning something new every day about somebody, about a subject, about anything. It it's always going to be beneficial. Maybe you don't see it today, but down the road it'll help you. It'll click and it'll be like, "Wow, I learned this at Trio." And it'll help you. And it'll help you be more successful. And I stand by that.
This the story. It says I'm listening to everyone today. Uh, for me, the story of Trio, and Julio mentioned it was in 1965, but I did not graduate high school until 1974. But I benefited from this program. Uh, it's transformative, and so we're helping people. And I heard Alex say there's no rock too big. This is about transforming the lives, and not only individual lives, but every Trio graduate. Even not, I know people who haven't graduated college but benefited by getting better jobs, living better lives. You don't even have to make it to graduation day. The U.S. Census gives a little piece of data that I often will show when I'm working with freshmen, that says every single year of schooling makes more money. Every single year of schooling decreases the chances of incarceration, drug addiction, mental health problems, physical problems. It's school almost equates to healthy living. So we've got that component over there, and I like us to now, because we're going to start going down. We probably have about 6 minutes left, people. So I want each of you to talk to the president and talk to the Republican Congress and not get angry at them. No, we don't need to shout. I'm a church kid, so I'm a Keynesian nonviolence Dr. King civil rights activist. I don't need to. I can get in your face in a kind, respectful way. Let's talk to this president. And Julio, now we got to go by age before youth and beauty. Okay, so you got to take us off, and you got to give us tell the president what's at stake here.
So I think I once received a letter of recommendation, and reading it, Dr. Pearson had said to me, or at least on the letter of recommendation, that Julio views education as social justice. And to me, it kind of was like I had to take a step back. So, Dr. Turner, thank you for asking me what I would say to President Trump, because the first thing I would say is, this thing that we consider Trio, that we consider education, all it does is open up doors to make this nation just a more beautiful place, right? The home of the free, the land of the brave. The only way we can accomplish such goals is by being united and understanding the truth behind so many things. And the only way we can experience the truth is to be educated. And to remove the opportunity for so many to become educated would just be a sin in itself. And these programs aren't only here to help certain communities. It's not only here to help certain types of people, right? Some of these programs are for United States veterans to earn a college degree. Some of these programs are able for adult learners to, get that job, get out of poverty, open up doors for themselves and for their children, right? So these programs help create generational wealth, not only in the sense of your pockets, right? This allows generational wealth in terms of health. This allows for generational opportunities for just so much expansion, and education and being educated can only make this great nation even better. So thank you for your time, Dr. Turner. Thank you for allowing me to say some words to President Trump. And, I think Angel and Erica will have some beautiful words to share as well.
And just about this veteran piece, I teach a literacy class for future high school teachers, and every year I have a veteran who has benefit from TRIO programs paying for. There's a numerous licensure exams and to get into the professional program. So I have that all the time, and they are the best of the best. So I just want to, when you said it's for everybody, it's also TRIO is helping. Yeah, not just the high school student, but I'm getting lost in that. I could talk about TRIO all day. Angel, let's go that. We're going to save the beauty for that ending piece over there. So you can prepare, Erica. But Angel, there you go. Talk to this president.
So I was reading on the budget cut outline, and basically the administration described TRIO as a relic of the past when financial incentives were needed to motivate institutions of higher education. Which to me, I would just want to say, if this was really true and this was really a relic of the past, why do I have 5 students every single day trying to just not only get tutoring for me, but talk to me? Why is the office filled every single day with people asking for Julio or for Kat or for help with anybody or just to talk to their friends? If it really is a relic of the past, why is it still such a popular program in these colleges, in these institutions? I really want the president to stop thinking of students as numbers or this institution as numbers, but as planets of just knowledge and beauty and emotion. Because every person is a planet. Every person needs to be discovered. Every person has this wide array of just different things to them, and I think that needs to be focused even more.
Perfect. Erica, if you hear the music, that's it. They're shutting us off, but you just go, sister. Go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing. We aren't statistics. We are students of life, Mr. President. That's all I got to say. I want to keep on learning.
That's it. And America isn't about pushing people down. If we're not a nation about lifting people up, then we are not a nation. We are a nation ready to fall. And so I would say, Mr. President, you're missing the point here. America should be a nation where we lift each other up. We don't just lift some boats, we lift all. Thank you. I love going back to TRIO. You better invite me to that summer talent show. People keep it. I want the playlist.
You get the VIP.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going